This is question 5 from Algebra 1 Subpart 1 practice test without a calculator. It states a function is graphed on the coordinate plane. You will see it. Hopefully you recognize it as a square root function. So you do not have a calculator, therefore you have to know how to select the function that is graphed on the coordinate plane. Well, you don't need a calculator to do this. You just need your knowledge of the parent graph and transformations. Now, this is the parent graph of a square root function. It starts at 0, and it simply just goes up 1 over 1, up 1 over 3 by transformations. Now, you can certainly do this with a table very quickly, but we taught you how to do transformations. Now, there's two types of transformations. We said when the h is under the radical, that is a horizontal movement, and we called that hips because the hips take you side to side, and we would say that you would do opposite hips. So in my example, I have a +1. So the only thing that it did with the parent graph is it moved it to the right 1 unit, and it's still the parent graph. Now, when there is a number at the end of it, this k here, that is a vertical translation. We called that the knees because the knees actually take you up and down, and we would say that you would keep the knees. So, if you look at this 2 here, what's happened to this is it went over 1 and it went up 2. So the hip movement was -1. The up movement was a +2, and the parent graph remains the same. So in this problem here, you have a parent graph that has been translated. It's been transformed. So it should have started here, but it went back 2 and down 1. So if you look at your choices here, this right here is a left 1, -2. And we have up here this point, we have a -2, -1. So that is not a match. This graph would actually go left and down 2. So that's no match. Now this one is going to take you +1, 2 up. So +1, 2 up would be right there. That is not a match. This one will take you -2 down -1. So left 2 down -1. It looks like C would be the answer because this one would take it forward 2, up 1, which would be right there. So this one, remember, you do not need a calculator to do this. It's your knowledge of transformations. So what if you forgot those transformation rules? Well, what you could do is you could make a table, and you could pick one x value, and I would probably pick the -2, -1, and I would simply plug in a -2 to see which one would give me the correct point, -2, 1. So since we already know C is the answer, I'm going to show you how this would work. F of -2 equals the square root of -2 plus 2 minus 1. F of -2 equals 0, square root of 0, which is 0, minus 1 is -1. And you can see how that point checks out, and it verifies another method or another strategy to verify that C is the correct answer.